After working on countless hip hop songs and R&B songs, I felt like I really wanted to delve into the pop world, and I got put on to work with Christina Aguilera. And I remember meeting her at Enterprise Studios, which was an amazing studio. It's no longer there in Burbank, California. And I played some keys for her, and we vibed out a little bit, and we got energy going, and we ended up making 7 songs. And out of those 7 songs, she wanted to do a rock record, and I'm a rock fan. I had never really made a rock record before, but we kind of merged the pop and rock together and made something special. After I had used distortion on guitar plugins that I did on the keyboard, I decided to have a real guitar player come in, and I was lucky enough to contact Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction, who's like one of my favorite guitar players. And, he came in and shredded on it and did guitar solo, did everything. When I was working with Christina, she liked to work in a very classic way, almost like Lennon McCartney worked. Like, we would sit at a piano, flesh out the chords, and while I was doing that, she'd be singing melodies and have her little handheld recorder and be taking notes. And she had various writers that she was collaborating with, and we kind of like wrote the song and produced it along the way. And I think that that's something that gets lost these days. There's a magic to just taking it to piano and voice and creating a really strong melody. I actually programmed all the drums with like an acoustic drum kit and tried to mimic as best as I could, real drums. And then, somewhere into the process, I called in a session musician, a drummer, to follow what I had done and embellish on that a little bit. And then, it was essentially sounded like a live band playing. So, we brought in live guitar player, a live bass player, and a live drums. But, being able to flesh it out and mimic these instruments and do, mock-ups of these instruments made it possible for a piano player to make stuff like that. We have some incredible sounds, especially now. The sounds are so much better. If I had access then in that Christina Aguilera session to some of the stuff now, I might not have even replaced the stuff with the live elements, because I could have probably pulled it off. But, at that time, we worked with what we had. Making that album and making that song was me, going into new territories and learning along the way. So it was a lot of pressure. And, when you're in that kind of situation, you want to win, you want to seize the day, and you want to make sure that you make the most of it, especially when you're, trying to delve into a new genre of music and you want to prove yourself. So the best thing is to not psych yourself out and just try and do the best job you can. And that was how we approached the Fighter record. It ended up being a huge record with, I can't even tell you how many tracks layered on there. That was a huge, when you say a huge session, like there was a lot of files on this session for that song, hundreds of tracks of music layered together. And, managing all that stuff and arranging it it's a process, but, it's a learning experience along the way. And, we have to push ourselves to make big records like that. We call them, missiles. They come along every now and then. You got to like really make the most of it and produce the record right. That was a cool experience and a learning experience. And, you kind of like have to learn as you're going, and it's a trial and error, but I think we made a pretty cool song with Fighter.